Hello! Welcome back to another devlog. With the astounding success of my last devlog, I decided to come back with another one. So I've made a few changes to the game since the last video. Pet Simulator now has some actual assets, courtesy of my artist. I think she did a great job with everything. Now, you can actually tell what everything is, and the status bars now have some distinction to them. These assets are definitely much better than my rectangles. And as you can probably tell, it's no longer about an axolotl. It's about a raccoon. Why a raccoon? Well, axolotls may be all cute and adorable and everything, but raccoons on the other hand are all fluffy and also cute and adorable. And that's all the updates I have to share with you. But yeah, in the last video, I said I would explain more about the project in this video, and I think the name of it is a bit self-explanatory. Simulator Game Simulator. It's a simulator for simulator games. In it, there will be multiple little simulator game sequences that the player will have to go through that cover different types of simulator games. Like the Pet Simulator was, of course, about pet simulators. And the only other one I'm going to reveal for now is a farming simulator, which is based on farming games like Heyday or Farmville. There will be a little bit of a story to the game as well. It won't just be a list of games that the player can choose from. I'm not going to say too much else about the game. I kind of want to keep things about the project a bit low-key until I release the demo. So if you're curious or interested, subscribe to stay updated with the project and hear about all the changes and updates that are happening with the game. If you couldn't already tell from the title of this video, this devlog will be about a restaurant simulator in the game. A French fry restaurant simulator to be specific. This sequence isn't based on any game in particular, but it is supposed to be one of those management games where you need to manage a store or a restaurant or something like that. Once again, this game doesn't have any art except for these tables and chairs, courtesy of my artist. In this game, the player will need to buy and cook French fries to serve to their customers. They will then get money from their customers to buy more fries and more stuff to expand their restaurant. Novel concept. I know. How the game will go is the player will need to purchase an initial table, fryer, and batch of uncooked fries. The player will then be prompted to take a batch of uncooked fries and pop it in the fryer to fry them. This will yield them a few plates of cooked fries, which is what they will serve to their customers. At this point is when the customers will start to come into the restaurant. There can be 1 or 2 customers that come in at a time per table. When they sit down, they will ask for an order of fries, and once the player gives them a plate of fried fries, they'll eat and leave when they're finished, and the player will get money. They get a different amount of money depending on if there's 1 or 2 customers, and new customers won't enter the restaurant and sit down at the table until the player comes and removes the dishes that were left behind by the previous customers. Now, none of this is balanced yet, and I have no idea how to even go about balancing it, but that's a problem for later. I couldn't just have the customers appear at the tables in the restaurant. That would be weird, so I added a little bit of a simple pathfinding system for the customers to find their tables. Now, I say simple, but it still took a bit of work. I mean, it wasn't as bad to figure out since this is actually kind of similar to something I've done for another game I made, Restaurant Rush. That one has customers and waiters that need to navigate around a bunch of tables in the restaurant and get to where they need to go, so I already had an understanding of what I needed to do to get the customers to their seats. Also, go check out Restaurant Rush on my itch page. The art may be a bit lacking, but it's a pretty fun game. I made it for a game jam some years ago, and it actually did pretty well. Anyways, enough with the self-promotion. Technical talk warning. The way that the customer spawning works is I have a set of points, one correlating to each table, and then one for the entrance of the store and for the customer spawn point. Working down the line, starting with the furthest table from the door, I check to see if any of the tables are unoccupied and cleaned. If one is, then I randomly decide to spawn 1 or 2 customers who will make their way to the determined table. The customers will spawn at the spawn point and make their way to the entrance point. They then rotate to face their next point, and to do this, I needed to get an old function I had lying around that converts vectors into angles. There's probably a different way that doesn't require me to use this function, but I'm just kind of basing this off of code that I've used for other games like Restaurant Rush, and this is what I used to do it, so I'm sticking with it. The customers then walk down the row to their table. Once they get to the table, they sit down in one of the two chairs, and which chair they sit in is determined when the customer is spawned. If they sit in the closer chair, when they get to the point for the table, they move directly to the chair and sit facing the table. If they sit in the further chair, there's one more point that they need to travel to before they sit down. Initially, I got the rotation angles from the wrong axes, so the rotations were all messed up, and I had to add modifiers to them to get them facing the right way. But then I realized what I had done wrong and I fixed it, but I never fixed the rotations, so all the customers walk like crabs when they make their way to their tables. I've studied a bit of UI implementation. I did an entire stream about this, as well as other streams for the entire development process, though they're all listed on YouTube. If anyone's interested in the UI implementation stream though, I'll leave a link for that one in the description. I did the majority of the designing for it off stream, but all of the implementation was done on stream. I started by drawing up a mock-up of what I wanted the UI to look like, and I ended up going through a few iterations of it before I was happy with what I had made. Then it came to putting it together in Unity. But the actual screen in the game was a different shape, so the initial design I made didn't fit what I wanted to do. I ended up having to shift some things around and was able to make it work while still keeping things generally like what I had originally intended. There are different tabs that the player could switch between, and the switching is done by setting a group of objects related to the tab active or inactive respectively. I think the final result looks pretty good. I think it'll look even better once I get the images and the textures into it. And that's gonna be it for this devlog. If you made it this long, thanks for sticking around, even through my boring technical talk. This game has really been coming together quickly, though I start school again soon, so I fear that I won't be able to continue working on this project as much as I have been for the past few months. And that also means that these devlogs, though I've only made 2 so far, will slow down as well. In the days following the release of this devlog, I'll have probably started an Instagram for this game and the studio I'm starting that's making this game, so check the description for a link to that if you want some updates, I guess. I really have no idea what I would post on that Instagram account, but I'll figure it out. This is the second devlog I've ever made, so if you have any feedback, I would appreciate it if you left that down in the comments. And if you want to keep up with the development of this game, subscribe so you know every time I release a new devlog. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, whenever I make that one. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, whenever that one will be. See ya. Bye.